how do we fast while grieving the genocide? It feels self-centered to be fasting, praying, etc., and getting rewarded while our ummah is experiencing unimaginable pain and suffering. I believe you've touched on this at different occasions, but if there's something specific you can tell this brother or sister.
That is an excellent question. And yes, this is going to be a Ramadan unlike no other. And I think it's very important that we, the way I want to answer this is I think that we should be having conversations as a community on how this Ramadan is so different. I mean, it can't be business as usual. So whether it is going to the local imam, maybe organizing talks at the masjid, whether you have youth directors that can address this, therapists and counselors in the community, because the amount of guilt that all of us feel, and this is what the questioner has articulated here, this is something that we really have to grapple with. And let me say this, the alternative, what would the alternative be? So think about it. If we view being able to go about the normal routines of Ramadan, like if we view that as a luxury that we don't deserve and as somehow being unfair to the Palestinians, we have to ask ourselves, what is the alternative? So obviously the alternative is one that I think would not be desirable at all, whether it would be leaving off some aspect of the obligation or the ritual. In other words, the practices of Ramadan are really what we need at this time. If you think about Ramadan in terms of an ibadah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself rewards, if you think about Ramadan in terms of the tamping down the desires, the shahawat, what the lower self wants. If you think about Ramadan as a time for that spiritual training, if you think about Ramadan as a time to seek Laylatul Qadr, if you think about it as a time to increase in charitable acts, as you think about Ramadan as an opportunity to find the strength and courage to speak out, I think that Ramadan can actually serve a very valuable purpose, for our community. But the guilt, yes, I think all of us are dealing with that. There is a certain degree, perhaps even of maybe survivor's guilt, especially for Palestinians that that live here in the United States, whose family members have been martyred. There are so many people that have lost hundreds, and if you bring them together collectively, thousands of family members. So my nasiha on this particular question would be that every single time that we make the niyyah to fast, the night before, that we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to let us derive from the fast what we should truly be deriving from that fast. And that we also make sure that we are setting the example for others, that this is not the time to be engaging in any type of sort of lavish kind of consumption. This is not the time to be kind of caught up in sort of, like I said, these externalities. This is the time to really be thinking about simplicity. This is the time to be examining, are we doing the work that we need to be doing in our respective communities? Are we paying attention to those that don't have anybody to visit with them? Are we looking to those that are less fortunate? And again, there are a lot of things that I think that we can do. And I'm not saying as a way of assuaging our guilt, because I think the guilt is always going to be there, because there's the guilt that we are collectively bearing as an ummah, that we are so numerically strong but cannot come to the aid of the Palestinians. But I would venture to say, and I would love if someone from Palestine could help us with this, I would venture to say that the Palestinians would not want you to give up on your ibadah, on your Quran, on your dua, on your qiyam, on your taraweeh. I don't think they would want you to give up, because this is the source of their strength, of their resilience, of their steadfastness. So if we, surrounded by luxury, cannot get up at night to pray, I think that's really telling when you look at people that have everything that has been taken from them, and they are still there. And we've seen the images of people literally praying amidst the rubble, often with their families trapped underneath that rubble. And then final point, don't allow the forces that would wish to silence our community to intimidate us. All right. Ramadan gives us an opportunity to really be able to clearly delineate truth and falsehood. And this country needs people who have that ability now more than ever.